Picture tomorrow's sunrise, the sky still pink, the city yawning awake, and you, calmly pouring coffee, because every bill that once haunted you is already paid. No alarms blaring in your head, no frantic, "how will I stretch the paycheck?" countdown. Just a quiet certainty that money is now your employee, not your warden. By the end of this video, you'll hold a blueprint I wish someone had handed me 40 years ago. A way to turn each frantic dollar you earn today into a calm river of cash flow that never sleeps. So stay with me, because the next few minutes may be the last time you ever feel broke. Let me take you back to 1987. I was 31, the son of a steel mill mechanic, working 80-hour weeks on an oil rig off the Gulf Coast, bone-tired, sunburned, and convinced that endurance was the currency of success. Yet each month ended the same, a zero balance and a knot in my stomach. One stormy night, the rig shut down for repairs, and I found myself in the galley with a veteran driller who was studying stock tables instead of the football scores. He slid the newspaper across the sticky table and said, "Kid, if your money can't work while you sleep, you'll work till you die." I laughed, but the words landed like a harpoon. Today, at 63, I'm that veteran, except my portfolio writes me larger checks each quarter than my old boss ever did. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The distance between that exhausted kid and the man you hear now wasn't raw talent. It was a decision to learn a different language, the language of assets. Since then, the evidence has only grown starker. According to Bankrate's 2025 Emergency Savings Report, nearly 60% of Americans still can't cover a surprise $1,000 bill without borrowing. That statistic isn't about mathematics. It's about mindset. If you're one of them, it's not a verdict on your worth. It's a signal that no one ever taught you the rules of the money game. Tonight, I'm going to rewrite those rules in plain English, step by step, until you can't unsee them. Because freedom isn't an abstract dream. It's a habit, and habits can be built at any age. So take a deep breath with me. Feel the weight of your current worries, then imagine stacking them like bricks. Bricks we'll soon use to pave your exit ramp out of financial anxiety. Ready to start lifting? Take a moment and picture two neighbors, Ken and Maria, who start every Monday exactly the same way. Both slam the same alarm at 6 a.m., both battle the same traffic, both pour the same budget brand coffee into a cracked travel mug. Yet fast forward 10 years, and Ken is still counting pennies at the supermarket, while Maria's kids are choosing between Yale and Stanford on a scholarship that her passive income portfolio could pay for twice over. What changed? One conversation. One idea Maria heard and acted on while Ken kept scrolling social media in the lunchroom. That single idea is what I'm handing you right now. The cash flow positioning map. It isn't a theory or a PowerPoint graph. It's the compass I used to leap from that oil rig bunk to my first 8-figure exit. It starts with one devastatingly honest question. Do you own your income stream, or does your income stream own every second of your life? Most people, the hardworking, sleep-deprived majority, operate in stage 1, the treadmill. Imagine a belt that moves just fast enough to match your best sprint. You're drenched, lungs burning, but the scenery never changes. You stop for even a sip of water, and the belt hurls you backward into overdraft fees, missed payments, embarrassment. If that's you, don't flinch. I spent my 20s sweating on that same belt. Stage 2 is the scaffold. You still climb every rung yourself, but each step you hammer in stays bolted to the wall after you climb higher. Maybe it's a high-margin freelance skill, a small e-commerce product, a YouTube channel that earns pennies while you sleep. Early returns feel laughably small. My first royalty check was $28.43, but they arrive without permission from any boss. That is the first taste of oxygen. Stage 3 is the elevator. Now the structure lifts you. Systems, software, partners, recurring subscriptions. None of them care whether you're on a beach or in a boardroom. You nudge buttons. The cables do the lifting. Money appears on schedule, and your calendar suddenly has blank spaces where dread used to live. Stage 4? That's the penthouse, the investor's arena. Here, each dollar is a trained employee that recruits 3 more while you're at dinner. Real estate syndications, dividend aristocrats, private equity slices of boring companies that throw cash like confetti. The ceiling above stage 4 is glass, and you own the sledgehammer. Now where are you on that map? Wherever you place the dot, do it without shame. Wealth isn't a personality trait, it's a set of moves, and moves can be learned at any age. But you must act with the urgency of a drowning man who finally spots the shore. Let's zoom into the next actionable step: converting exhausted time into perpetually paid time. Tonight, write a ruthless inventory of every task you perform this week that stops paying you the instant you stop doing it. Circle just one that could be filmed, automated, documented, or delegated. Maybe it's the solution you email clients over and over. Turn that into a digital download. Maybe it's a tip you give new hires. Record a mini course. Tomorrow, wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual and build the first brick. 30 minutes is nothing. Compound it for a year, and you've invested nearly an entire work month into freeing yourself. Remember my rig mentor and his newspaper? He didn't toss me straight into options trading. He handed me a crumpled copy of The Richest Man in Babylon and challenged me to finish it before our hitch ended. I did. Then I reread it 2 more times. Knowledge became my cheapest leverage. Books turned into $50 seminars, which turned into $500 mastermind dinners that dwarfed every dollar I'd ever spent on entertainment. My bank account didn't explode overnight, but my circle of thinking did. And money always flows to its highest level of thought. Let me give you a test that changed everything for me at 39. List 3 skills you've mastered well enough to teach. Now rank them by 2 criteria: scalability, how many people can pay you at once, and longevity, how long the asset lives after you build it. High scalability plus high longevity equals a golden goose. Pick your top match and commit to shipping a first version in 90 days. Not perfect, shippable. Perfection is poverty wearing a fancy hat. Feeling the resistance? Good. That resistance is proof you're colliding with the invisible fence that has kept your net worth penned in for decades. Push anyway. Post the first product, even if only 5 people buy. Congratulations. You've just planted a money tree. It will be small, fragile, maybe laughable to your friends. Water it weekly. One day, it will shade the mortgage you used to fear. Quick pit stop to keep you watching. In 5 minutes, I'll reveal the single sentence I used on a Manhattan banker that sliced my apartment financing cost in half. A line you can deploy on any lender in any language. Miss it, and you could bleed thousands over the next decade. Stay, and you might just reclaim your next family vacation before the video ends. So breathe, straighten your shoulders, and remember, every wealthy person you admire once stood exactly where you're standing. Eyes burning from overtime, bank account gasping, heart begging for a map. I'm handing it to you. Grip it tight. Pause the video for 10 seconds and glance at the last 3 things you bought this week: the coffee delivery, the flash sale sneakers, the streaming upgrade you barely remember authorizing. Now ask yourself, did those purchases solve a real problem, or did they soothe a feeling? I once coached a brilliant young architect named Tiffany. Salary, 6 figures. Bank balance every 28th of the month, $2.14. She wasn't foolish, she was exhausted. Each late-night Uber Eats order was a tiny rebellion against a day spent pleasing clients. She called it self-care. Chase Bank called it 24.99% APR. Multiply Tiffany by a nation, and you get the headline that should terrify us all. Nearly 60% of Americans still cannot cover a surprise $1,000 bill. But here's the dagger behind that statistic. The same report shows that 2 in 5 would slap emergencies on a credit card and pray. That's why household card balances now average $7,321, a record that climbs even as wages nudge upward. Our economy isn't bleeding from laziness. It's hemorrhaging from emotional spending. I taught Tiffany one exercise that rewired her brain in 72 hours. I told her to print a tiny green sticker and slap it on her debit card. Every time she reached for it, she had to murmur, "Does this purchase finance my freedom or my feelings?" If the answer was feelings, she triggered a 24-hour cooling-off period. 3 months later, she'd retired $8,000 in revolving debt and, for the first time since college, fell asleep without Spotify's Rain Sounds for Anxiety. Ask yourself right now, would a 24-hour pause before any purchase over $100 change your life? You already know the answer. Drop a quick pause rule engaged in the comments if you're brave enough to test it tonight. I'll find your comment and cheer you on. Now let's talk about the monster everyone tiptoes around: risk. I still remember October 13th, 2008. The Dow had cratered 733 points. A younger colleague sprinted into my office waving a sell order and shouting, "We have to jump ship." I slid the order back across the desk. "Son," I said, "panic is expensive and rarely on sale." We held. 12 years later, that single decision preserved $42 million that panic would have burned to ash. Ray Dalio puts it simpler: if you don't understand risk, you don't understand life. The numbers back him up. A boring, balanced portfolio, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, has averaged about 7% a year for 3 decades, weathering crashes, pandemics, even that day in 2008. Yet credit card interest hovers near 20%, siphoning your future to finance someone else's yacht. See the asymmetry? Risk isn't the enemy. Ignorance is. So here's your anti-panic protocol. Divide every incoming dollar: 40% essentials, 30% wealth building, investments, skill courses, cash flow assets, 20% safety, cash buffer, 10% guilt-free fun. Yes, you heard me, fun. Discipline without joy is a diet you'll binge quit. Automate the wealth slice the same day your paycheck lands. Money you never touch never tempts you. Pick one asset class this weekend: ETFs, REITs, peer-to-peer notes, whatever intrigues you, and learn until you can explain it to a 10-year-old. When you can do that, buy your first tiny position. I don't care if it's $50. The goal is emotional immunity, not instant riches. Next video segment, I'll hand you the exact one-sentence script that shaved a full percentage point off my Manhattan mortgage. And yes, it still works in 2025. Miss it, and you may overpay your bank tens of thousands over the next decade. Catch it, and you'll own leverage most lenders hope you never discover. Imagine you're sitting across the desk from a polished loan officer who's about to hand you a 30-year ball and chain disguised as a mortgage. She smiles, slides the paperwork forward, and begins her well-rehearsed speech about standard rates. You lean in, lower your voice, and ask one calm question. "Before we lock, can you quote me your portfolio retention rate? I'd hate to waste your time if you plan to sell this loan." Silence. Her eyes flicker. Why? Because that sentence tells her you understand the inner game. Banks often mark up rates when they intend to flip your loan to a secondary market. If she admits the loan will be sold, you follow up. "Great. Then please match the servicing discount your desk offers clients whose loans stay on book." 9 words shaved a full point off my Manhattan condo note and saved enough to fund my eldest daughter's college semester. Use them and ask for the discount with the patience of someone who already knows the answer is yes. Now, back to building those unstoppable cash engines. You've planted your first money tree. Good. Next, we fertilize it with relationships. Wealth is never a solo climb. It's a rope team scaling a glacier. Every knot between climbers is a skill, a favor, a borrowed perspective that keeps you from slipping. Here's your assignment. Schedule one coffee this week with someone who scares you a little. The coder who automates revenue streams in her sleep. The realtor who closes deals while you're still brushing your teeth. Bring one sincere question and one concrete offer. Maybe you're a designer who can overhaul their pitch deck. Maybe you're an operations whiz who can fix their inventory mess. Lead with value, not need. You'll be stunned how quickly doors swing open when you push instead of pull. I learned this lesson from Marvin, a gritty Chicago landlord who became my unlikely mentor. I offered to model his maintenance costs in Excel. He showed me how to roll profit from duplex to triplex without touching my personal credit. One Saturday spreadsheet for a lifetime playbook. Fair trade. At this point, resistance might whisper, easy for him. He started before the market got crazy. Fair. But remember Tiffany, the architect who tamed her spending? The moment her debts shrank, she funneled the freed-up cash into a boring index fund that automatically reinvested dividends. 2 years later, that fund spits out more in quarterly payouts than her old minimum card payments. No market timing, no miracle stock, just ruthless, boring consistency. Your turn. If your paycheck feels too thin to invest, start by harvesting hidden dollars. Audit every subscription, every brand name grocery item, every late fee you've taught yourself to ignore. Convert those leaks into an auto draft that buys fractional shares the instant your salary lands. Tiny, relentless snowflakes become an avalanche faster than you think. Quick retention hook, because I promise to keep your eyes on the screen. In the next segment, I'll hand you the 2-minute pricing ritual that tripled a freelance writer's income overnight without losing a single client. Miss it and you may undercharge for the next 5 years. Catch it and you'll raise your income before the next invoice hits. Take a breath, straighten your spine, and feel the ground beneath your feet. That solid earth? It's shifting in your favor with every decision you make tonight. I'm right here, shovel in hand, ready to dig the next footing beside you. Close your eyes and picture an invoice, not the one you're about to send, but the one you should be sending. The number at the bottom? Triple it. Feel your pulse jump? Good. That thump in your chest is the sound of your value waking up. Here's the 2-minute pricing ritual that rewired a modest copywriter named Raj and vaulted him from ramen bills to ribeye steaks, without losing a single client. Step 1. Before you quote, list the top 3 outcomes your work delivers. Not hours, not tasks, outcomes. Higher conversions, faster project cycles, stronger brand credibility. Say them out loud until you can feel the weight of each result. Step 2. Assign a conservative dollar value to each outcome. If your email sequence could add 15,000 in sales, note 15,000. Step 3. Multiply the total by 10%. That's your new price floor. Why 10? Because if you can't claim a dime on every dollar you generate, you're volunteering in a for-profit world. Step 4. Deliver the number with a full stop, then stay silent. The first to speak pays the premium. Remember that. Raj tried this ritual on a Tuesday. By Friday, 1 client balked, 2 nodded, and the third whispered, "Honestly, we wondered when you'd charge what you're worth." That single email lifted his annual income by 43% in less than a week. Imagine what it could do for you. Now let's weld that higher price to a stronger network, because money loves velocity and velocity lives in relationships. Think of your contacts in 3 tiers. Tier 1. Peers you trust to tell you when your idea stinks. These are your reality checks. Without them, you'll drift into expensive delusions. Tier 2. Mentors 2 or 3 steps ahead. They shorten your learning curve from years to a lunch break. Take notes, pay for the meal, execute fast enough to earn a second meeting. Tier 3. Protégés. Yes, you need them. Teaching forces clarity. Clarity sharpens confidence. Confidence closes deals. And never underestimate the loyalty of someone whose first big break comes through your door. This week set a 1-1-1 target. 1 coffee with a peer. 1 concise update to a mentor. 1 actionable tip to a protégé. Keep the conversations brief, specific, and value-heavy. Repeat every 7 days and watch opportunities start orbiting you like satellites around a planet. Quick thunderbolt to keep your attention. In the next segment, I'll hand you the 90-day pivot blueprint I gave a devastated restaurant owner in 2020 that moved her revenue online and doubled her profit margin while competitors folded. Miss it, and you may cling to a sinking model. Catch it, and you'll be surfing the next wave before most people even see the swell. Feel the energy rising? That's your old ceiling cracking above you. Breathe in the dust. It's the smell of new space. Take a last deep breath and listen to the silence between heartbeats. That quiet is the future you're about to own. For 9 chapters, we expose the traps: racing the clock, spending for feelings, running from risk, climbing alone, waiting on paychecks, learning only to stay employed, clinging to habits, and underpricing our own worth. One by one, we broke the chains. Now the 10th and final step is simple, but it is not easy. Declare yourself the architect of every dollar that touches your life. No more spectators in your bank account. No more shrugging at statements you don't understand. No more apologizing for wanting abundance. If the ground just shook under your feet, that's the old story collapsing. Let it fall. In its place, pour this fresh foundation. Spend each morning asking, what cash engine did I oil today? Spend each evening asking, who did I serve so well they'd gladly open a door for me tomorrow? Spend every spare hour adding bricks of knowledge that compound for decades. Follow that rhythm for 90 days and you will pivot. Maybe not into yachts and penthouses overnight, but into a life where emergencies feel like inconveniences, options feel like obligations fulfilled, and work feels like a game you've finally learned to rig in your favor. Remember Tiffany, Raj, and the restaurant owner? Their victories weren't luck. They drew the same breath you're drawing right now, heard a challenge, and answered yes. That's the only difference between watching a transformation and living one. So here we stand at the crossroads. Down the left fork lies the comfort of the familiar treadmill. Down the right, the uphill climb towards sovereignty, a slope lit by the compound glow of assets, relationships, and self-respect. The first step will scare you. That's the proof it matters. Take it anyway, and take it tonight. I've walked the path for 40 years, and I promise you this. Wealth isn't a finish line. It's a widening horizon. The farther you go, the more sky appears. Keep walking, keep building, keep teaching the next traveler what you learn, and one day you'll realize the horizon is following you. If this journey lit even a single spark inside you, feed it. Drop a comment with the one action you'll take before you sleep, because public commitment is fuel. Then make sure you never travel alone. Together we'll turn sparks into bonfires strong enough to light every road you choose to walk. I'm grateful you stayed till the end. Now close this video and open the next chapter of your life.
Still.